And we're here! The second part to the Wild with Patapon series is finally done. Thank you to everybody who watched the first video. You really gave me the motivation to do what I'm doing right now. But enough of my rambling. I know what you're here for and I'm here to deliver. Patapon 2, unlike the first installment in the series, is a game I actually remember playing before current year. And the Patapon game everyone calls the best of the bunch. The perfect example of what Patapon should be and is. It's longer, fixes annoying issues that the first game had, has more content, including, but not limited to, new classes, more materials, an overhauled in-depth Patapon system, and even, albeit extremely limited, multiplayer. That and much more. Although I never mindlessly wandered around in it nearly as much as Patapon 3, Patapon 2 still means a lot to me. Hence here I am reviewing it. So I'm gonna have to see for myself if all this new and improved stuff works towards the game's favor, and ultimately see if it really is as great as everyone says. Again, before we start off emulating this, I don't believe I'll be using a safe state to the game in any way. PSP. Patapon 2 is, of course, a continuation of Patapon 1's story, following the tribe of adorable eyeballs that burn everything in their way as they approach Earthend, which is kind of like a Patapon Holy Land. The first thing the sequel has over the previous game is that it greets us beautifully. Instead of giving us a black background with the word Patapon written on it, accompanied by bagpipes, it gives us a lively and vibrant screen with a catchy as all hell title theme. The Patapon's theme, as I'm led to believe is its name, is a song that's been stuck in my head ever since the first time I heard it. It's the single most memorable title theme I think I've ever heard. I haven't even started the review yet, and the game already presents itself way better than its predecessor, which I guess is to be expected. So, what are the big changes this time? First off, Patapons don't have permadeath anymore, so even if you get hit by the wrath of God, your Patapons are safe and sound back at the headquarters, which is a good change that removes a lot of the frustrations that comes with the first game. The game is also much more forgiving with your timing this time around, giving you one more chance when missing beats. This is also accompanied by 3 new difficulties, easy, normal, and hard. On easy, hitting beats is of course much easier, and lets you get perfects practically every time. On normal, it's a little harder, and on hard mode, your inputs have to be pretty much on frame to hit a perfect beat. And one more thing which I'll mention later. The game offers you to switch to easy mode when you start the game, but I'll of course be playing on normal since I'm pretty sure that's how you're supposed to experience the game, if you're not rhythmically impaired. There's 5 new types of materials: hides, fangs, bones, seeds, and juices. And getting them is a bit more easier and simpler this time, due to the fact bosses have a higher chance to drop something when they get staggered than last time, and with the introduction of boss exclusive drops, which means that only a specific type of material drops from a select boss. This is a great addition. It gives you more incentive to fight different bosses to get materials rather than just farming a single one until the end of time, like the Donga. Oh, and the music this time! Holy fuck! Kemi Adachi has outdone himself with the soundtrack this time around, with even more memorable tracks, such as Modamapon's theme, Pakurimaka's theme. These aren't real words. On the surface, it really does seem that this game is better than the first one in almost every way. So let's dig a little deeper. The game starts off with Patapon remembering all the events from Patapon 1, and praying to God that nothing happens on their continuing way to Earthend. But of course, something has to happen to explain the fact you lose your entire army, so the ship the Patapons are on sinks. Now everyone is dead, except Patapon, cause he's got a flag and plot armor. We wake up the knocked out Patapon using the pawn drum and meet 3 Garipons. We continue along the way and meet some masked folks, called the Carmens, who are standing over an unconscious Medon. The Carmens are the main antagonists of Patapon 2. Although right now they're running from you like little coward. Wait a minute, this is just the beginning to the first game again! It also turns out Patapon is on this totally different landmass. Although the sky is a little bit more green, which means it's a totally different place. We go hunting because Medon says that the village is starving again? Well, at least this time the Patapons aren't holding perfectly fine luxury food right in front of your face like last time. So, maybe it's actually legit. What next? We run into Bandit Patapon? Oh, of course we do! Says the guy writing the script. I'll give it to them though. The music in this mission is Pon Begadada's theme, which is honestly my favorite track from Patapon 2. After that encounter, we find the Chaka drum and relearn the Lament of Defense. Then we run into the Patapon hero... Hero. Great name, guys. Hero is the newest addition to the Patapon arsenal, having his own army space. He is universal, as in he can be any class you want as long as that class is unlocked, with added features. He can wear masks, which grant him bonuses, such as more health points, fire immunity, etc., And his ability, Hero Mode, is the strongest thing the Patapon army has. It's activated by hitting every single beat in a measure perfectly, except for Hard Mode, where you have to do that 3 times in a row. It's a very strong attack which depends on what class hero is at the moment. For example, if he's a Decapon, he spins while moving forward with his hammer out, and if he's a Patapon, he sucks out all the fun from the game. Unfortunately, this is what the game is balanced around, which means the entire rest of our army does only half of the work Hero does by himself. And this is a detrimental flaw in something that the original, in my opinion, has over the sequel. The game has in turn become less about strategy and more about just hitting perfect as much as you can, which essentially means the game is a fucking cakewalk on easy mode. And Hero Mode's flaws don't end there. It can get your hero killed because of the stupid ass animations that play when you enter and leave Hero Mode. It's been the cause of so many of my deaths in the past and I'm not a fan of it, since the game basically punishes you for keeping the rhythm. It's unfortunate that this is a thing, because honestly, this is the only thing holding back Patapon 2 from being an indisputably better sequel. Of course, this is still Patapon, and despite all that, it feels very rewarding to hit those perfect beats and getting Hero Mode if you're playing on a difficulty that isn't easy. But it's something that kept bothering me a lot through the entire playthrough. Anyways, the Donga here, the Donga hit head with rock, the Donga run away. We take Hero back to our hideout, revealing that he is actually the chosen one we were destined to meet. We get to name our new unit, and I'm sorry, I can't think of anything funny or clever, so I'll name him the traditional way. Yeah, this'll do. We then go on to face and kill the Dodonga, who has the Matter Sprout in its possession. It hasn't changed since the last time we fought it and is even easier with the hero on our side. Dodonga drops the Matter Sprout we were looking for. We meet Don the Yumipon again. We destroy a fortress in our way with his help again. Then, in a shocking turn of events, Gong reappears! As mentioned in the previous video, Gong appears in every game and has magically been revived. He seeks revenge for his previous defeat in the first game. Some Zigguton soldiers that somehow got you to notice him and beg Gong to let him command them as an army yet again. We fight the Ziggutons for a little while, after which Gong and his army retreat. We then go on to face the second boss of the game, and the first original boss, Mochichichi. Its moves consist of triple peck, heavy jump, tornado attack if its level is high enough, and farting on you. It drops bones. We then acquire the Rain Miracle and mushrooms in Yokiri Swamp the same way we obtained the Tailwind Miracle in Patapon 1, which is required for the next mission. We enter the next mission and find ourselves right before a scorching desert. So we find and pick up the Dawn Drum. Patapon gives out a prayer. Gong gives out a prayer. I guess he can just talk to us now. Anyways, he teaches us the Song of Miracles and helps us get through the desert, despite being our current enemy. The next boss, Centura, a big Strider, is waiting on the other side. Centura has 4 moves: Tail Slam, Sleepy Spray, Skewer Stab, and Tail Stab if the Centura is at a high enough level. Centura can only be attacked while it's raining, so the Rain Miracle is acquired. It drops Fangs. Gong then challenges us to a battle at Mount Gone Rock, so we go there and brawl with him and the Ziggutons for a little. Hey, remember the Carmins? They're here to remind you that they're the main antagonists and throw napalm at the Zigguton army. Ultimately, this makes Gong reveal his true intentions as he points us towards the sky. We break through a fortress in the GG Cliffs, destroy the evil creature Ferromatera in the sky, and reach the Sky Castle. In the said castle, we meet the secondary antagonists, the Akumopons. Akumopons are basically demons. They come from the underworld and are made to be evil. They are mostly the dead Ziggutons you've killed in the first game, seeking revenge through unconventional means. Later in the mission, we meet the Dark One, who has trapped the great deity in something. It looks evil though. The Dark One is the leader of Hell's invasion of Earth, and he, like Mechaton from the first game, has an immense unexplainable hatred towards us. There also seems to be a black star following him everywhere, whose name is Black Hashipon. Black Hashipon is the true mastermind behind everything we're seeing up here, exploiting the Dark One's mysterious past and ending the Patapon's long journey once and for all. For some reason. Okay, the first thing you may have noticed is that this game reuses a lot of ideas and assets from the first game. At certain times, especially in the beginning, it feels like I'm playing Patapon 1 Deluxe Director's Cut or something, due to how much of the same fucking shit happens. It doesn't make the game worse or anything, I just wish Patapon 2 did something that would make it at least a little bit distinguishable from the first game, aside from the main edition hero. Now, as you may have noticed from the gameplay, bosses in this game upon being defeated for the first time drop egg-looking things. Those are a part of a new multiplayer feature called Paragate, or Patagate in the US. In Paragate, your hero battles against bosses along with your friends as heroes on a timer, after which you have to perform the Dawn Chaka ritual, which is just a little minigame that decides your reward depending on how well you did. The boss depends on the egg you choose, and from different bosses you gain different rewards. There are two types of rewards unique to this feature, masks and Komopons. Komopons are CPU Patapon heroes for use in Paragate if you have no friends. Paragate also has game sharing, so if your friend doesn't have Patapon 2 but has a PSP, they'll be able to play as a Komopon from your party along with you if they're connected to your PSP. Next, I feel like the bosses have been slightly revamped. They don't feel like they go out of sync anymore, which is something I mentioned was a problem in the first game. Oh yeah, the new bosses in this game are amazing for the most part. None of them have that Zachnol shit where they go so far you can't hit them at all. Most of them are fair and fun to fight. And one in specific I would say is the perfect example of a fun Patapon boss. That being Canogius. The pre-attack animations are subtle enough to where they're just different for you to easily distinguish them from one another, but not so easy or obvious to where you instantly know. He doesn't have any bullshit attacks. He looks absolutely badass and is just damn fun. They nailed him down to a T. Patapon 2 also has Manboff. Now, Manboff and Manbaroff to be exact. That's the stronger version. They're kind of the opposite of that, you know? I'm talking bullshit attacks and shit pre-attack animations, all that. Literally, one of its attacks cannot be reliably dodged until the end game. This is a boss you battle in the middle of the game, by the way. Oh, and fun fact, the game forces you to fight this bitch twice! Why did they make you fight Manbaroff despite the fact the stronger version of bosses are supposed to be optional? I don't know. For all I know, Satan could be working at Japan Studios. Also, 2 more additional songs were added to the game, which definitely help with rematching that motherfucker if you don't have any good meat. The melody with a bounce, performed by doing Don Don Chaka Chaka, makes your Patapons jump high into the air. It's an alternative way of dodging, since some attacks cannot be avoided with the normal run song. And the Ballad of 1999, performed by doing Patapon Don Chaka, which makes your Patapons dance and grants them immunity to all status effects while they're dancing. It's a very late game song though, so you won't be able to use it throughout most of the story. Remember the bad missions from Patapon 1? Yeah, they decided to make sequels for those and added even more garbage missions. Yep, they decided to make Gate Golbabon, Zegaton Queen, Final Showdown, Across Enemy Territory, Part 2. And they made all of them even worse than they were in the original. Gate Golbabon is now Demon Gate Babon, and is barely changed. The same spam defend brainless style of gameplay is still here, and is even easier with the hero around. They wanted to replicate Zegaton Queen so bad they put a giant fucking mushroom that releases pollen to fill in for Karma's sleepy dust. Oh, and Beetleton is back, now known as Kuwagaton. Still about as annoying as last time, at least we get to kill him again. Final Showdown appears as Once Upon a Time in Patapon. Now, credit where credit is due, they actually kind of improved the mission here. Especially with the storytelling the mission does as you progress. This is also where you battle the main villain of the game, Orman Carmen. Orman Carmen is the chief of the Carmen tribe, and the person who single-handedly destroyed the ancient Patapon tribe. He's got very long arms, and for the life of me, I can't remember shit about him. And the winner of the worst Patapon mission tournament is Underworld Tank Zuga Gang. What can I say? It's not fun at all. It expects you to have a top-tier army. I hate it. Your melee units are forced to walk into the tank. And now you may say, just use ranged units only, you dingus. Ha! I wish! I don't think they can even do that much damage to destroy Zuga Gang in a timely manner without them being level 10 Moggy rare pawns. It's hell. Speaking of rare pawns, they're back. And this time they're a much more in-depth system than the last game, which, you know, is pretty great and adds on to replayability. Each rare pawn has a level from 1 to 10, and you can advance a level by giving your rare pawn specific materials and some ka-ching, with every level requiring more and more to level up. Which means it'll take a lot longer for them to really show their effects, but they can also go way beyond what they were originally capable of in Patapon 1. By the way, the amount of rare pawns in this game basically doubled, but for my own sake, I'm not going to list the new ones off. This menu is also how you unlock classes this time around. Instead of getting them through story progression, you get them through rare pawn tree advancements, as specific rare pawns unlock specific classes. Speaking of classes, there are 3 more of them to be unlocked in this game, and those are Tori pawns, bird riding Patapons that wield javelins. They attack from above and throw free javelins when in fever mode. They provide excellent support for your team and are created with vegetables and alloys. Robopons. Big-armed Patapons that attack with their big arms. Their normal attack is just fine, but their charge attack, that's what makes them. Probably my favorite class to put on the hero, as it becomes Spinny Arms McGee in hero mode. They're created with hide and alloys. And Mahopons. Chris Angel Patapons. I mean Patapon Wizards. They can either be a supporting class or damage class. They are the only class that are able to heal the others, which means they're pretty damn good, holy fuck. Their attack also can be really good. They're the second strongest class in my opinion. Their hero mode is also really fun. Raining down Armageddon is always enjoyable. Oh yeah, remember the Decapons? They're cool now. They're like Robopons in the sense that your charge attack really makes them what they are. Instead of slowly walking towards the enemy and hitting the ground, Decapons dash at the enemy and then hit whatever's in front of them with their hammer. I think they're just faster overall now, but I'm not sure. See how much a small change can influence how useful or enjoyable a class is? All minigames have been given more replayability, with 2 more difficulty options for all of them. Unlocking the next difficulty level is as simple as passing the minigame flawlessly 2 times. All minigames from the previous game come back. Most have received a small tweak and now only need kaching instead of materials. Or, in the case of one, have been completely overhauled. Fozakpon's minigame no longer has you pressing circle every beat. This pretty much removes most of what made the minigame unique, but I guess they had to change it so they could actually increase the difficulty on it without having to up the tempo. Among the old minigames, there are 2 newcomers. Those being Shurabayapon and Dancing Bell Kururu Beruru. A pretty straightforward minigame, hit the beat when the game tells you to, and then break your thumb at the end. To play you must give any materials and then you gain kaching depending on what quality the material is and the level of the minigame. Tsun Tsukupon, Tsukutsunpon, and Juice Machine, which is also a pretty straightforward minigame. Hit the right button depending on which color the beat is. If it's blue, then press square. If it's red, then press circle. The tempo increases as you keep going, like in Tonkampon's minigame. If you didn't notice yet, it's kind of fucking weird how they reversed the colors for this, isn't it? I guess it's meant to throw you off or something? Because it sure threw me off a bunch of times. You get juices from this minigame. In conclusion, is Patapon 2 as good as people say it is? No, but still a great game. Is it an upgrade from Patapon 1? Here's the part where I talk about how better is subjective, blah blah blah, but in my opinion, blah blah blah. Patapon 2 definitely strays away from the precedent that the original set in place, which is definitely not a good thing, but it also does a lot more stuff better than Patapon 1. So honestly, being as objective as I possibly can, I don't know, it's up to you. Although in my mind, Patapon 1 has a lot more reasons to just be a better game, such as the strategy factor, I'll always prefer the second one, despite all the annoyances that come with it. It may be nostalgia, but honestly, I don't care. No one can change that. I will have more hours on the second one. I will That leaves just one more game to be covered, so be on the lookout for that, and much more. Thank you for watching. Check out my other videos too, if I have any.